Hello everybody, welcome back to a new video. We are currently day 2 of harvest. Haven't started anything today yet. We're still drying from yesterday. But the bin is now, it was about 3 rings from the top, so 4. And now we're below the door. So we've got about 1.5 rings, 1 3/4 rings left to dry today. This bin is where we're putting the dry corn. So it looks good. Looks discolored in the camera, but it's not actually. I think it's a shadow. But we're sitting there. I tested this morning. It's 42 degrees, 14.4 moisture, so basically perfect. If I can be between 14 and 15, I'm happy. So we have bumped our transfer moisture up some, because we are now creeping up on 100-degree average for moisture, or for temperature. And so we're adding about 10 degrees. Another 10 degrees will give us another 0.2 point of shrink in the cooling bin. So we're now transferring at 16.1 instead of 15.8-ish. And that's what we're doing now. So Dad just ran off. He's getting his truck fueled up, and he's got to get some bicarb. We had a steer blowed up really bad overnight. Got to get that taken care of, and then he's gonna go get fuel for everything else, because our fuel tanks are empty, and then we'll be able to get going here. So hopefully by noon, I would think maybe we'll be up and going. I've got somebody coming for a bale of straw at noon too, so we'll see. But this dryer might shut down before we get back out there. I don't know. I've also got to watch my burner. Last night it got down to about 30 degrees. So at about 9:30, 10 o'clock, I had to crank the gas pressure up to keep that able to fluctuate. We're drying at 120 degree plenum. And so now today, if it warms up, I may have to back that gas pressure back down, because you don't want the flame shutting off. You want it cycling between high and low, and it'll slowly just bounce between I think it's a 10 degree buffer. It might be 5. So from 115 to 120, or 110 to 115. And if it keeps climbing above 120 on low, then it shuts the burner off to get it to drop down, and then it goes back to high, and then it shuts off. It's just better for everything if you can keep it consistent between low and high. We're gonna run a moisture test on our dry corn. This is towards the top, so it might favor a little bit wetter, but I don't know. We'll see what the temp says. Ooh, that's pretty dry. 60-pound test weight though, 41 degrees. So she's cooling quite a bit. But I could do that test 3 times and come up with 3 different moistures. That's just the way it is for some reason. That's some good heavy corn though, that's for sure. I'll watch this. As soon as it gets done transferring, I'll run another test and see where we're at for calibration, because this might have shifted a little bit. We'll see. Since we finished late last night, we had a load sitting here, so I'm putting this in now. I went up there, we had a bunch of walnuts and stuff plugging up the spreader. Got all that good, got the spreader flowing again. So we're all going good. Dad just left. We borrowed a set of pallet forks, a 6-foot long set to move our tanks around. So he took that back, and then he's gonna come back and go run and get fuel. So far so good. Alright, we're letting the combine warm up for a sec, and then we'll get to it. Dad's already been here, fueled everything up. He ran to get a bite to eat, and then he'll be back by the time I need him to run the cart, I think. So dryer's still going. It's getting close to being down there, but let's see. Probably got 6,500 bushel of storage we can fill today. So should have no problems with running out of storage, I would think. But just lost the headlights on the truck, so we're calling it quits. It is 7:15. We've done 3,400 bushel today, so we're halfway to having that bin full probably. I gotta go check the dryer. The last field came off dryer. It also yielded like garbage, and so check and see if the dryer's got to that corn yet, and make some adjustments, because we'll have to drop the transfer moisture down because it's not gonna have as long in the dryer, and it's gonna come out cooler, and it's not gonna shrink as much in the cooling bin. So we'll get that switched up, and then it's just babysitting the dryer till that one bin's full, and then we'll probably just shut everything down and wait till tomorrow, and we'll top it off and batch dry a whole bin and then haul it out. Well, everybody, welcome to, I guess it would be day 3 of corn harvest. Technically, I think it's day 4. I did start Saturday night, but whatever. It's day 3 officially on YouTube, and we're gonna get going here. The reed, that one bin I was filling is full. It filled at about 1:30 last night, shut the dryer down. And so today our main goal is just to fill that dryer bin, get that batch drying, and then depending on where we're at, if we have that fan back for the other bin, or if I gotta start hauling, we'll start hauling. We do have 6,000 bushel contracted that needs to go out this fall, so that's the plan. We're about 1/3 of the way through our acres, I think. So my engine compartment's open. Better go close that. Dad just went to get lunch, and Uncle Billy's unloading the load we started last night. So this is the field we got going. I think I can get this to coverage yield. There we go. So front rows, not great. This is where all the good ground is. When this was wheat 2 years ago, that's where the good yielding stuff was. So we'll see our average go up a little bit. I'm not expecting much anymore. My expectations on the season have changed drastically. It's easy. A drought year is a drought year no matter what, and you gotta expect a yield drop, but it hurts so much more when it's a late season drought. And you've been looking at this bumper crop all season long, and then it all just burns up in the last month. It's just one of them things. And it's not like it changed in a way that you couldn't see it from the road. It's all in the grain fill is where we lost our yield. So it's not something like you drive by the field and go, oh yeah, that field's done. It's a write-off. That field still looks pretty good compared to what we've been how dry we are, and then you get in it with the combine and it's just not what you expected. So, but that's the way farming goes. So I think we're gonna be fine. I know our expense numbers and what we've got into the crop, and I think we're still gonna be all right. So it's just gonna be maybe next year bumper crop. Cross fingers. 80 bushel beans, 250 bushel corn. I don't know. Well, we're opening up the next one. Headlands never amount to anything, although it's doing better than what I had a field go for an average, so can't complain. 140 bushel corn though, you can clip right along 4 mile an hour, no problem. So this one's a little funny because there's a massive food plot in the middle of it. Not what I'd prefer to have, but this is really a special deal, so I am willing to farm around it for what we get to lease this for. But anyway, last field 5, that field is currently now in first place for yield, which I would not think I could say that. But that's it. A 9.5 acre field is holding our first place for yield. Never know. You never know. But after this field, all we have left is our money ground, and so I'm expecting to see some decent yields there. I'm not getting my hopes up, but hopefully we'll see some decent yields. So right now we're playing a pretty interesting game of chicken with our diesel fuel. I've got 4.5 acres left, and I'm trying to get completely done and up to the farm to refuel. Our portable tank sprung another leak, and I patched it this morning. So if I get really nervous, it should be set by now and I could go use it, but I'm trying to give that as much time as it can to cure. So the grain truck broke, PTO came apart, it's not back yet, cart's full, it's sitting up in the front, that's the low fuel light. So we're kinda, might be sitting here in a minute. I'm kidding, I can hold another 100 bushel on the combine, so just a bunch of short rows now, and then hopefully we can get up to the farm before this thing just pukes out. We had a little bit of downtime. Truck, I think I told you the PTO shaft fell apart. So Dad ran up, got the other truck, brought me some fuel back, and he washed the windows so you guys could see. Awesome. So we've got 2.5 acres left. And then we can move down to the farm, get to a real nice field. Also not sponsored. They could, but not sponsored. Yeah, so Dad's going up, getting the cart, bringing it back so I can empty and keep going again. This is what we've been working for all season. It's for corn like this. This is actually a more marginal part of the field. This got a full infurrow program, the same as all of our base acres, but this one got a fungicide pass at R2 with a pint of boron and a pint of sugar. So that is, this is like a mid-management, I guess is what I would call it. It got the late season stuff though, which I think, listening to more people, it seems to be the bigger yield drive in corn is your R2 application. So it seems to be showing it. Once we get across the road, that's where our full management is, where there's a V5 fungicide or a V5 foliar with a PGR, as well as an R2 application of a few foliar fertilizers out in the middle of the field. So we're gonna see how that does. Just got back up to the farm. Yeah. The best day we've had so far for bushels wise, I think, is 3,400 bushel, which is pretty decent in marginal corn. Today we just finished up 4,400 bushel, so I'm running over to climb the bin. It should be pretty dang close to full. I don't even know if this last truck will fit, but we'll see. This bin holds about 7,000, I think, with the dryer stuff in it. So Uncle Billy ran down to get the last load. Dad has a full grain cart, and then we'll check this stuff, maybe get the dryer fired up. Like I say, we're gonna batch dry this and then haul it out right away. We still don't have our fan put together on the other bin yet, so still waiting on that. Well, you can't go past the spreader or the circulator on the Y there, and you can see the transfer augers. You can't see the manifold. So what we're gonna is we're gonna have to crawl in there with a scoop shovel and level the thing off, which isn't a bad thing. It'll increase efficiency, but That's also a good thing because it means my yield monitor might be a little light, because I don't think we had more than 3,000 bushel in there to start with today. So all good things, all good things. So it's 10 o'clock. We got everything going at about 8:30. Blew the fuses on the main motor. I think because that circulator on top got buried, I think it backfed a bunch of wet corn down into that vertical and it overloaded it. But everything's going now. So what I did was I didn't run any heat first, because we had a couple thousand bushel in there that'd been running just the fan all day. So I set the circulator at 15% circulate, so it's pulling the 15% corn off the bottom, putting it on top. Once that quit, that ran for 45 minutes-ish. Now we're running 120 degree plenum. We're running at 15.5, and it's circulating right now again at 15.5. Our grain temp is about 60 degrees. So that's gonna dry down to about 15.1, and then I'm sure over time, with all this being early grain, all this heat's still gonna be blowing through it, it's gonna dry down some more. Now I'm watching this. I'm running 3 samples, seeing what my average gain is every sample as far as temp, so that I know when to come back out here, because at 70 degrees we're gonna bump this, or at 70 degrees grain temp, moving up to the top of the bin, that will cool down to about 45 degrees eventually, and that will be below 15%. So I'm figuring out when I'm getting to 70, and then when I'm at 70, I'm gonna come out here, bump this up to a 15.8 transfer, and then just rinse and repeat. We're gonna keep doing that until we get to wetter corn. When we're at wetter corn, I'm gonna bump my plenum up to 140, 150, and we're just gonna let this thing roar all night long. And most of the day tomorrow, try and get this dry before tomorrow afternoon, and then we'll kill the heat, let her cool, and we can start hauling. So it's 1 o'clock a.m. now. I'm up on the bin, and we ran into a small hiccup. Let me show you. I'll stick the light in here. That's the fact that our distributor buried again. So we can't batch dry with that distributor buried. We're not supposed to be drying at all with it buried. So now we're transferring into that bin that's already pretty full, and we're gonna try and fit enough to get this thing going, because I don't want to shut this dryer down overnight. I got nowhere else to go with this corn. It's just what we gotta do. If I have to, I'll climb the other bin and get that one opened up, and we might have to put a couple 100 bushel in the bottom of it just to get us to where we can dry and not have to shut down. But we're making progress. We're trying to get it down. It's just, once we're below that, it'll be smooth sailing. But that grain, naturally it starts to cone because of the way that distributor is, so it's just a problem we're going to be running into unless we get the grain level down. Well, crisis averted for now. I am not going to bed, that's for sure. It's 1:15, and I'm going to have to be up for another hour and a half. Come back out and check, make sure that's not clogging back up again, and we might have to move some more corn out. Lucky for me though, corn does not come out of those holes that are in that one bin, so that's good. It also might be bad that I had to put that corn in there, because we may come back to a blown out bin some point in the next year, but no idea. We'll see. We'll be pulling corn out of that as quickly as we can anyway, so it should be okay. That fan's gonna run for 2 weeks, and then we will probably start grinding feed out of that bin, if I had a guess. I'm gonna keep babysitting the dryer, so you guys have a good rest of your guys' days. Mine is spent not sleeping, and hope you guys enjoyed this video. Day 2 and 3 of corn harvest. Stay tuned for day 4, coming probably a couple days after this one. So have a good one, guys. Thank you for watching. Like, comment, and subscribe.